Hi friends, it's Shirley from Home and Family, and today I'm answering some of your gardening questions. We're going to start off with Sue Cavallini. Sue says, what should I do to help the ground around my plants not to dry out much during the summer? And she wants some senior options. Well, Sue, for whether you're a senior or anyone, the good news is it's not a lot of work to keep your soil from getting dry. All you need to do is have someone, if not yourself, apply 2 inches of mulch around your soil. And an important thing during the summer is water in the morning before the sun comes out, before things get really hot. And at that point, it will penetrate your mulch and then it will just be there. It'll be kept nice and moist. So remember, mulch is what you need to do in order to keep your soil from drying out. And I have a question from Ali Muniz. Ali writes, the town I live in is stage 5 drought, so we can't water our plants or garden. So what kind of plants don't need much water? Well, there's a lot of plants that are actually drought tolerant, but that's a misnomer. And the reason I say that is because all plants, I don't care if they're aloes or agaves and cactus, they all need water, regular water at the very beginning when you plant them in order for them to get established. You have to imagine, for, if you will, like a camel. You know, camels never need water, but imagine if their humps were empty. They got to fuel up. They need that water stores to be filled. And then once it's filled, then they can go without water. The same thing with our plants. So some of the plants that you want to look at that are drought tolerant include succulents, Australian plants such as phormiums. Also, you can look into Mediterranean plants, sages, lavenders, rosemary, bamboo does well, ornamental grasses. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of plants that you can use in your garden that don't need a lot of water after they've been established. And I'm going to invite you to go to edenmakers.com. That's my website, and I do have quite a bit of ideas there for your landscape using all drought-tolerant plants. Okay, let me move on to another question. Let's see. Heather. Hi, Heather. Heather Spolz-Connolly. Do you have any pet-friendly ways to get rid of clover growing in our yard? My husband faithfully fertilizes the yard, but our neighbors haven't been, and it's spreading into the yard from both sides. Well, Heather, my question to you is, why get rid of the clover? It actually is a great ground cover, and a lot of times it's superior to a lawn for the reasons that it doesn't need to be fertilized because it fixes nitrogen. It's part of its nature to grab the nitrogen in the air and bring it to the soil, which of course is what greens up our plants. So it is an amazing nitrogen fixer. Also has a pretty little white bloom, doesn't require a lot of water, and again, doesn't need fertilizing. If you got to get rid of it, well, there are ways to do it. I would recommend the organic solution first, and that would be probably to dig it all out first and then put a layer of cardboard or black plastic on top of it, cover it with mulch. They call this solarizing. This is where you don't allow any sun and you don't allow any water into the area so that it basically dies. But why? It's so cute. Seriously, take another look at clover, okay? And that's for all of you. And then I have Janice Grog, who asks, Shirley, how do I keep weeds from coming back in between my patio blocks? I pull them by the roots and they still grow back. Well, you're not the only one who has this problem. And as a matter of fact, I bet a lot of you who are listening right now are looking at some cracks with some weeds coming through it. And the reason for this, you need to understand why are weeds growing in your cracks. Kind of sounds funny, but the reason is because spores and seeds, they blow in the wind and they settle into the cracks. Can you see the crack here? All right, let's say whoosh. And then what's there? If you have pavers like you do, what happens is those spores grow and attach themselves to the sand. And if you don't have good grading in your patio, say there's ponding in that area where there's water and moisture, guess what's going to happen? Weeds are going to grow. That's right. It needs to have moisture. So if you're not going to regrade your patio, here's a very good solution that a lot of landscapers, this is what we do. The first thing you need to do is kill the weeds that are there. And you can do this a number of ways. Number one, you can torch them, but not for kids. This is for adults. You will torch, and there's special torches that you can get at the garden center, and you torch and you kill that weed. That's one way to kill it. Another one, pour salt on it. But make sure that salt doesn't get onto the plants that you want to keep alive, because it will kill them too. So salt solution also in the cracks, or white vinegar with water. You spray it along the cracks. So what happens? You do these things, the weeds die. You pull them out, just like you did before. But what's different is this time you're going to power wash that patio. And the reason for that is that you want to knock out any spores and any type of seeds that are around. Also funguses, sometimes mosses grow on pavers. So you want to make sure to make it super duper clean. And then here's what you do. You will then, it's called polymetric. Excuse me, let me see. Let me check my notes, because I want to make sure I send you to the right place. It is a polymeric, and it's a special type of sand. Polymeric sand is a sand that has quartzite, has a little bit of Portland cement. It's got binders that make it hard. So what's going to happen is you're going to sprinkle this polymeric sand in the cracks. Make sure that you sweep it into there and then compress it. And then you're going to take a light misting with your hose. Just light, because you don't want to dislodge it. And what happens is, as you wet it, it begins to harden. And it creates a non-permeable layer, so water can't get through. Water doesn't get through, seeds don't get watered. Guess what? Weeds don't grow, or not as easily. It's not 100% foolproof, okay? Don't take me to task, because there's really nothing to stop weeds from growing, but this will really improve the look of your patio and those weeds. So guys, if you've enjoyed these garden tips, I hope that you'll watch me on Home and Family on the Hallmark Channel. We're on Monday through Friday, and we're here for you.